Hello and welcome to David Taylor, the American Motors Guy. Now in this video, we're going to talk about insurance. Now we know how important insurance is in our lives. It doesn't matter if you're talking about health, life, home, automobile, or even our furry little friends. But this is going to be talking about project car insurance. Now, I had a buddy of mine who had tragedy strike, and that's what brought this video forward for me. So I thought that I would pass on a lot of this information to all of my viewers and all of my followers so that y'all would understand what happens. Okay, so this young gentleman had his project car in his garage along with his wife's daily driver. Well, he had a fire happen. Now, luckily no one was home, everybody was gone, but pretty much his entire house burnt to the ground. Not completely, but I'd say 90% of it. They have already went in and tore it down and started going through what has to be done. So, what I wanted to talk to everyone about was having the right insurance. Now, I'm not here to talk about your home or auto insurance. I'm here to enlighten you about your home and auto insurance. Now, a bunch of us out here in this world have what we call project cars. Okay, and most of y'all think that your homeowner's insurance would cover that. Well, folks, I got news for you. That is a huge misconception, and almost every single insurance company that I talked to said, nah. Now, as soon as you bring the word car into the sentence, not in void. They do not. That is a auto policy. That is nothing to do with your homeowner's insurance. And that's what happened. When he went to he said, well, my car's in there. Well, that's your auto insurance. And he's like, well, no, that's my homeowner's insurance because it was in the house. It was in the garage. I said, no, it's not. He goes, well, what about my project car? Well, did you have insurance on it? I said, well, no, it wasn't drivable yet. I've been working on it for almost 4 years, and I can't get it. It's not ready to be road ready. So what are you supposed to do? Well, you should have had project car insurance. Well, do you offer it? No, we don't. And he was just dumbfounded. Now, he did have to make a claim on his auto insurance for the loss of his wife's daily driver. But his project car, he lost out completely. So this is to let you know what you may need to do. All right. Now, we all understand that our homeowner's policy is basically two parts. The first part would be the dwelling, the home, what the walls that stand everything up and the roof above it. Okay. The other part is your contents. So your contents are everything, the mops, the broom, the dustpan, everything to your eyeglasses. All of that stuff is in your contents. So what he ended up doing was being able to recover some of his parts, but not the car. Now, his contents only paid up to a certain amount. So your dwelling, you have to check with your insurance agent to make sure, because of the cost of everything going up, they provide a what they call a cushion or a fail-safe if your house was to burn down to the ground or tornado took it completely out. Hurricane, same thing. But there's all these different little things that you have to do. All right, so if you don't keep a tune-up on your insurance, then you could be out thousands upon thousands of dollars. So I had to do a tune-up. I didn't think that I thought I was okay. I found out that I wasn't, and this was after he had tragedy strike, and he also found out he wasn't covered the way he thought he was covered. But that was due to the cost increase of everything else that has gone up in the last 3 to 4 years. All right, so what has happened, like I said, he has recovered some of the money for some of the parts. He made proof, hey, this is what I had. He didn't have receipts. He had to go back and do it digitally by going to Rock Auto and other places that he's bought parts from to get an extra receipt or to show that he had a receipt. Thank God it was digital. Okay, so if it was paper receipts and he had them at the house, you're screwed. You have no record of it. Okay, so these are pointers that I'm trying to give so that everybody understands. Now, your contents is a percentage of what your dwelling is. So if you insure the dwelling, let's say you bought your house and it was 100 grand. You would insure it for 150 grand, right? You got to think about cost increases along the way. Now, after a couple of years, you need to go back and check. Okay, well, this house sold for this much. How much would it cost to rebuild it? You'd have to check on those sorts of things. You've got to do your due diligence. All right, so what I found out was I had enough to cover the dwelling, but my content percentage was lower than what I thought it was. So when my agent, who is an independent, so she works out through a bunch of different companies, and she gets me the best deal. Sometimes that's a better way to go. Now, if you stuck with one company, they can only sell you one product. All right? So keep in mind to do your due diligence with your agent and make sure that you're covered. Now, my percentage was at, I believe it was at 60%. Well, when I started doing my math on how things have gone up and stuff like that, I increased it to 75%. Because I know that it takes a lot of money to replace things. Now, a lot of us, we don't really care what's in the house or whatever, the couch, the chairs, the TVs, all that sort of stuff. However, if your wife has expensive taste, then you need to make sure that your percentage is up there a little higher. Now, I'm not saying my wife has expensive taste. My wife has classical taste, and she is into antiques. So, finally, finding antiques, number one, is difficult because some they pass off as antiques ain't antiques. But you have to do your due diligence on anything that you go out and buy. So make sure that what you have in your policy, your percentage, you're covered. Now, we're talking about project car insurance, right? Okay. Well, every insurance company that I checked with, I was just acting like I was a shopper. Hey, I'm with this particular company, and I'm looking to see what you offer. And now I do this stuff, I was calling them instead of them calling me. Now, all of these companies, none of them, not one, offer project car insurance. None of the majors, and including a bunch of the ones you never heard of, do not offer it. There's only one company, one, that offers a project car insurance or a restoration insurance. And that only company is Hagerty. Now, I'm not a spokesman for Hagerty or an agent or a salesman or an employee of any kind to this company. I'm just letting you know who is out there, and it ain't but one. All right, so Hagerty does offer a project car insurance. Now, there's a bunch of stipulations that go with this. Now, if you talk to any of these insurance companies, no matter who it is on the classic car end, it's a completely different world. Your car must be stored in a garage. Your car must be running and driving. You cannot have it modified? If it is modified, then you need to have modified insurance. And the list goes on and on and on and on about what they cover. And when you go to make a claim and you pop the hood and they're looking at it because they sent an adjuster out and they're trained in all of this stuff, they look at it and say, well, you insured a 1974 AMC Hornet SST two-door hatchback with an inline six. That's what this VIN number says. But here it is. It's got a 360 engine with a 727 transmission, double carbs, all the bells and whistles that you could think of to make it go fast. Guess what? You're not getting paid. They'll do everything they can to screw you out of your money. Why? Because that's their job. Any insurance company will come out and tell you, yeah, we'll cover that. Not a problem. We'll cover that. Well, folks, I got news for you. It ain't happening. Number one, they are salesmen. Keep that in mind. They will tell you the sun sets and rises however you want it to be told to you, and they will make sure that you buy it. The problem is when you go to make a claim, then things get hairy, okay? And I'm speaking from experience. Number one, my father. My father was a heart transplant recipient. He lived 14 years, or 13 years and a few months and a few days after his transplant. Now, they tell you when my dad had the transplant, we try to get you 10 years. That's what they tell you. We try to get you 10 years. 10 years more at life. But there's no guarantee. Now, my father, after having the transplant for a while, decided he needed another vehicle. So he went out and purchased a used Dodge pickup. Now, when he bought this truck, the first thing the salesman wanted to do was to sell my father gap insurance. Now, this gap insurance was to cover the cost of the truck had he or my mother passed away. Well, just so happened, not long after he bought it, Dad did die. So my dad went to his grave thinking, okay, this truck is going to be paid for because I even told the salesman, hey, I've had a heart transplant. Okay, not a problem. It's not a problem, Mr. Taylor. They'll pay for it. It's not a problem. Knowing the whole entire time they would not pay for it. Okay? Because they don't care. They sold it. They don't care. It's the adjuster that cares. And the first thing that was said right after my father passed was, well, the truck is paid for. And I went, Mom, how can that be? And yes, sure enough, it was not paid for because my dad had a pre-existing condition. That's how they are. So don't believe most of what you hear from an insurance agent. Like I said, they are salesmen. So you have to ask the questions to make sure you're covered. Now, back to the project car insurance. Now, on that note, you need to make sure that you have your due diligence on it as well. So, what do? Well, number one, you call Hagerty. You tell them you have a project car that you want to insure. All right? First stipulation is you must be working on the car. So you need to have photographic evidence of what you're doing. So you have a photo of the car as soon as you buy it, and then you've stripped it down, and then you've got photos of you cutting the metal out, putting new metal in, that sort of thing. They need photographic evidence that you're in the process of rebuilding the car. Now, if you're going to do a paint job or whatever, most of us know, okay, all I'm going to do is give it a paint and put it back on the road. Right. Well, each state is different. and every single one has little rules that you must abide by. Now, a lot of the states in the upper eastern side, we'll say Connecticut, New York, and that sort of thing, New England area, they have stipulations that when you buy a car, you must register it. And I know some of you do, some of you don't. All right. But how do you fix this problem? All right. I don't know all the laws that go out to each and one of these states, and I can't tell you how they do things. All I can tell you is that if you have it registered, you can insure it. That I do know. Now, for those who live in the South or out West or wherever it may be, where they don't have all these crazy laws, then it's different. Okay, here in Tennessee, I can have a few cars out in the backyard and nobody can say anything unless there's a filed complaint through the city or through the county, da-da-da-da-da. All right, so how do I make sure that I'm covered? Okay, for me, I would need project car insurance because I don't have to register them unless I want to. I take the titles down and I go ahead and have it put in my name, have it registered, boom, there it is. Okay, well, the first thing the insurance company's gonna ask me is, well, how long do you drive it? How often do you drive it? How many miles are you putting on it? Okay, now if I'm at Classic Car Insurance, they already know that I'm not going to drive it much. They know, okay, well, he's already got one. Oh, he's got two. Now he's got three. Okay, so we know he's going to be splitting it up. He's not going to stick to one. All right. So there's all these different variables that go in all of this mess. But my friend, my buddy, who lost it all, now he's trying to figure out how he's going to put all of his contents in his house, you know, the sheets, the mattresses, the bed, the furniture, everything, even his appliances. Okay, so all of that stuff falls in a whole different world. And by the time you pay for all of this stuff, he's not going to have enough money to hardly cover most of his tools. And then he had a problem with them covering the tools because he had no record. What do? Okay, I found this out. You can create your own YouTube channel and keep it private. And what you want to do is, when you create that channel, you can send your photographs, put them on a reel, where everything just continues to flow right out of your phone, one photograph after another. It creates a video. You take that video and you upload it to your YouTube. Now, you take your phone and you do another video of all your tools and make sure you pick and point out those very tools that are the most important to you or a special tool. Okay? And you also want to point out things that you may have from the high-end companies such as Snap-on, Cornwell, Mac, whoever the company may be. Now, there's a bunch of different tool companies out there and a bunch of independents as well. And they do have records of what you bought and paid for. But if you're a commercial guy or a mechanic at heart, or you have a business, that is also another way to get tool insurance just because you need it. The building that your stuff is in, they're insured and your tools are insured up to a certain amount. Now, when you reach that amount, they cut you off. That's it. You don't get covered. So it's smart to keep a small policy on your tools if you're a mechanic working somewhere else. That's smart. But you also need to do the video and keep a record of your stuff. That also includes updating it every single year because you know you're going to buy more tools. And that goes for the homeowner as well. After so long, you need to record another video. You delete the old one, keep the new one, and then upload it to your YouTube. If you leave it on Facebook or anywhere else and you rely on the cloud, then it's more than likely most of us don't pay the extra because, hey, you need more space in your iCloud or you need more memory, so you need to purchase it from us. Okay? YouTube doesn't ask you that. You can put your videos on, there it sits, it's there for your records. Whenever you need it, you flip it out, you have it. Okay? So, those are some tips for you to use or not use. It's entirely up to you. But as I said, Hagerty is the only company out of all the classic car insurance companies that offer a project car insurance. It's relatively cheap, but it is the only company. Now, those of you who think your homeowners is going to cover it, folks, I'm telling you, it's not going to happen. They're not going to cover it. They will lie and tell everything to you to make sure to get you to spend your money. Just do your due diligence and make sure everything's all right. Make sure you're covered, because there's nothing worse than to spend all that money, be that close to being finished, and just watch it being sucked away from you. So this is all to my friends, letting everyone know, don't get took. Make sure you cover yourself. Do your due diligence. All right, everybody? We'll see you on the next video. All right. Oh, I've got a couple more coming up. Remember to like, subscribe, and to make comments. All right, more videos coming up. I will be doing the Pierre Cardin Javelin. I was supposed to be doing it today, and he can't do it, so we're going to skip that one for now. I will be doing the Jeff Dennison Goldie, which is the Gucci Sportabout, and I'm out there looking for a Canassie Matador. So if you know anyone with a looks relatively videoable, I guess that's a word, I'm not really sure, but if you think it would look good enough on a video, then I'm interested in talking to the person who has a Canassie Matador. Now, they came in 3 different colors, and I really want to get one so that we can do a video and have all 3 of the major fashion designers' cars, so we can do a video on all 3. Now, also, I will be doing another video on parts and part suppliers. Still working on that, still waiting on more permission. All right, everybody. See you on the next one. Thanks.